Finish with a story close to my heart about a lesson I learned with the Colour My Story books. When my eldest daughter started school, I'd been writing the books for about 18 months, and I was excited to trial the starting school book with my own daughter. Before she started, we coloured in the pictures, we read the story, we talked about school. She was excited about going, couldn't wait to go. The first day she loved it, the second day she loved it, and the third day she didn't want to go again. And it started just that she said that she didn't want to go, and by the end of by the time we were ready to go to school, she had started stamping her feet and saying, "Oh, I don't want to go to school." As you know, I just thought that there was a few little anxieties and that she would be okay. So I kept pushing and getting her ready for school, and little bit by little bit, she was really feeling mad with me. She was upset. She was doing anything that she could possibly do to stay at home. We got to school that morning, and the goodbye was, as I said goodbye to her, she had to be pulled from me by the teacher and the teacher's aide. She really was still, right to that moment, didn't want to be at school that day. And I really thought that would just be something that would change over a few more days. It would get better, it would get easier, but it didn't. Lucy was still crying and screaming and not wanting to go to school for 6 weeks. For me, I felt a little bit embarrassed. I was a school teacher. I'd written the starting school book, and my child was having the hardest time out of all the parents with the child starting school. And it wasn't until 6 weeks, after 6 weeks of this, that on one Sunday morning we pulled out the book and started doing some more colouring. And it was when I got to the page on, at school there will be a place for me to eat and a place for me to play with my friends at lunchtime. She started to cry and she said, "Mum, you colour and I will talk." And I really made sure that my eyes were focused on the page, and I coloured as she talked, and she said to me, "I don't like lunchtimes. When I have finished eating my lunch, I can't find my friends to play with." And I asked her, was that why she didn't want to go to school, and she said yes. So all the time that I'd been loading her lunchbox full of food, she was unable to explain to me that was causing the anxiety for her at lunchtime. In a very small play area, there were 220 kids, and they all wore the same school uniform, and when she finally was the last person to finish her morning tea and the last person to finish her lunch, when she finished those things, she couldn't find her friends. And that was why she cried every morning. She stamped her feet. We would dress her and she'd pull her clothes off, and that was why. And that was her way of saying she didn't feel safe. So my advice is, don't leave at 6 weeks. Read the book. It's a great story to read before the change. It's a great story to read during the change, and it's an even better story to pick up and read a few weeks later, especially if they're having trouble.